So who here is interested in getting some corporate speaking engagements? By a show of thumbs or a yes in the chat. Who's the corporate speaking, get me on those corporate stages, folks? Let's see, Louise, Liz, yes, please. I can see Nancy's got her thumbs up and she is nodding her head. Heather's giving me the money sign. She's like, show me the money. It's all happening. So our next speaker is all about talking to you about how to get on stages. So she's a visibility strategist, an HR consultant, a TEDx speaker, and she'll be talking about the indispensable strategies that will help you to attract and secure paid speaking engagements with corporates. Please welcome to the stage the incredible Michelle Raymond.
Hi, everyone. Hope you can hear me. How's everybody doing? Are you enjoying things so far? Are you enjoying? Thumbs up. It's been brilliant, hasn't it? It's been absolutely fantastic. So I'm just going to share my slides with you, hoping you can see them. Oh, actually, what I'll do first is do this first. Take off my screen so that you can see my other screen. Let's do this. Brilliant. Let's do this. I am really excited because I'm sure there's many of you here that want corporate engagements, right? Good. So let's make that happen. Right. So can you see this? Can you see me? Can you see me on your screen?
Well, Michelle, you are invisible, but we can see your slides. Oh, now you're visible. Look at that. Ta-da!
I was testing the software. Brilliant. Okay, so what I'm going to do, for every lady that is here today, I want you to take some notes. I want you to engage in conversation with me because I've got a short time before you, but I want to show you some really great, indispensable strategies that can get you corporate engagements. And when I'm talking about corporate engagements, I'm also talking about paid ones. To be fair, when you do speaking engagements within corporates, they are usually paid anyway. And there's going to be different levels. So who wants to hear about these strategies? Let me know. Let me know. Just put a thumbs up. Yeah, that you want to hear about it. So let's do this. So I am going to share with you the 3 Ps. These are the 3 Ps to get inside corporates. And when we're talking about corporates, because we do say corporates quite a lot, but no one hasn't really defined it. So I'm talking about organizations, SMEs, it might be companies with staff, for example. It could be small SMEs, it could be large organizations up to multinationals. So corporate can mean whatever it is to you, but I'm going to show you how to use these 3 Ps to get into corporates. We're going to be first looking at the person of interest, ensuring that you are the person of interest, someone that they want to have to speak at their event. Then we're going to be looking at partnerships and referrals. So some of it has been mentioned before, but I'm going to give you a slightly different angle to it. So you've got more information to choose from. Then we're going to look at permission. How do I ask for permission? And I get this question all the time. Michelle, but what should I say? What should I do to get into these corporate engagements, to get into these corporate spaces? So I'm going to show you a couple of other strategies that I show to people on my program. I'm going to share them with you today. So before we do, just a little bit of information about who I am. Why am I the right person to be speaking about this? So first and foremost, my name is Michelle Raymond. I'm a HR consultant, a visibility strategist, but I'm also a trainer and a speaker, and I do this within the corporate industry. So I speak and deliver training and facilitation for the likes of Lloyd's Banking Group, for Deloitte, for BT. And then there's going to be some smaller brands that you don't know, but they're all organizations, National Rail. So I do a lot of talking and speaking and training and facilitation within the corporate spaces. So that gives me a bit of know-how as to what I know what I'm talking about. And plus, because I do HR for a lot of these companies as well, I almost act as the gatekeeper, the person who decides whether you should come in and speak to the departments. So I'm going to give you some strategies and some tips of things that you want to be doing if you want to get paid speaking engagements. So are you ready to hear what they are? So put yes in the comments. If you are ready, put yes in the comments and we can get started straight away. Awesome. Good. I am ready. I am ready. So here is the first one. You have to be a person of interest. So you might say, but Michelle, what does that mean? How can I be a person of interest? But Jem touched on it earlier. She talked about thought leadership. But I'm going to go one step deeper. Many of us are entrepreneurs and we work within the entrepreneurial space. So it might be B2C. It could be even C2C. But when we're dealing with thought leadership and we're thinking about how can I be a person of interest for some of these corporate decision makers, there's a specific language that you use in your content. You need to have breadth and depth of knowledge in your area of expertise. You cannot, let's put it this way, this is going to be a bit controversial, but I'm going to say it anyway. What I'm seeing from a lot of people who want to get into corporates, in their social media content, they put things such as 5 steps to, 3 steps to better health. Now that's really great and it's easy to consume. It's easy to digest. But if I'm a decision maker, if I'm the ops manager or the operating director or the head of events, and I'm scrolling through my LinkedIn and I'm trying to find somebody who can support us with DE&I, and I'm seeing those tips, I'm thinking, they're not coming across as thought leader to me. There's no breadth and depth to the knowledge of their expertise. I can't see that in the post because they like numbers. Decision makers like numbers. You need to put stats in your content. You need to put data in your content. So you're moving from here, doing your 5 steps of content, the 5 steps to this, the 2 steps to that, to the next level. And the next level is, let's say if you're a D&I specialist, for example, you want to be saying things like 40% of your company is not diverse, and so you're not reaching the levels of success that you should be reaching. You don't have enough probably Black women at the top of the field at board level, according to Green Park of 2020. Because stats say that 58% of decision makers say that they will choose a business based on thought leadership. So they used stats, so why are you not using stats in your content? 61% of decision makers said that they are willing to pay a premium. So you want to go in as a speaker, you need to prove to them that you are a thought leader in your expertise, that you go beyond just the tick list, the nice to haves, but you can talk about trends, you can talk about data, insights for their customers, insights for their industries, key trends, best practices. Now, every single one of you here is an expert in your field, but there's many other people that do the same as you. How you will stand out to someone like me, who are always on the lookout for a speaker or a facilitator or a trainer for their clients, we need to see data on social media. If you're going to put it on social media, but you don't need to stop at social media. I need to see that you've been probably featured in some high-level magazines or publications. Organizations have internal magazines. So if you know an industry and know a sector and a specific company, find out what is the internal magazines that they make available to all the staff. That's in the coffee room. That is now digital, so that everybody who are working remotely can access that. Why don't you contribute thought leadership content for those? So you don't need to stick to social media. The CEOs are not on social media trawling through your content. They don't have time for that. They don't have time for that. So it's the gatekeepers, it's the operational managers, the operational directors who are on the lookout, the event organizers are on the lookout for people who can fit the needs, the commercial needs of that organization. So if you're wondering, Michelle, but where do I get this data from? Yeah, I'm a health and wellness coach. How can I make sure that my thought leadership content is at a higher level? Where's my data? Here are 4 places that you can get data for your expertise right now. McKinsey & Co, Boston Consulting, Accenture, and Gartner HR. These are the 4, there's loads of other places you can get the data from. But these are the 4 that are quite well known in the field for consulting and data. They do analysis, they do white papers, they do industry talks. So you want to find out what's the data around your subject matter so you become a person of interest. Hope you're all getting this, guys, because I'm just taking it up one notch. I want you to move from the entrepreneurial mindset to the corporate mindset. We speak a different language. We look for some things differently. Yes, we access social media, but I want to see, are you at the top of your field for me to bring you in? Because these corporate events, now when I'm thinking about corporate events, I'm thinking of, they have conferences, they have dinners, they have galas, they have department talks. Now, if I'm going to bring you in and I'm going to pay you £2,000, £3,000, £5,000, even more, I know that, you know, we've paid 15, 20,000 for speakers. But that's because I've seen thought leadership content. They're the top of their field. So the next area is partnerships and referrals. Now, Lavelda touched on this, Jem touched on this as well. I want to give you a slightly different angle, and I want to introduce you to the horizontal and vertical partnerships. I can tell you right now that if you know somebody who's already in, or you know somebody who has the ear to somebody who's already in these corporate organizations, you stand a very, very high chance of coming in as a speaker. Because recommendations go a long way within corporates. There you will notice, like in the property industry, there are the same types of people that do the circuit. That's what we call it. They do the circuit because they've come recommended. Now, horizontal and vertical partnerships is this. So we have the horizontal partnership. This is where you tap into people who are on the same level as you, maybe a little bit higher, but on the same plane as you, who may know of particular engagements that might be happening, that they can put in a good word for you. Who are your horizontal partnerships? So if you're a speaker, they could be other speakers. If you're a trainer, they could be other trainers. Then you have the vertical. Now, these are people who are already in the organizations that you want to target. So you need to have an understanding of your sector, your industry, what organizations. And then you have to think, who do I know? So if you were to go onto LinkedIn, you will go onto LinkedIn and you may see that you have a second connection to somebody who's already working in the industry that you want to speak in. You reach out to your first connection and you say to them, and this is how you do it, so you don't come across like you're just using them. You say to them, let's say if their name's Caroline. I saw Caroline on my screen. So if the name's Caroline, you say, Caroline, I see that you're connected to Louise, who works for Accenture. What would you say is the best way for me to connect in with Louise? Now, Caroline's going to say, well, I'm connected, so let me connect you. But that's what we want her to say. But we want to do it in a way so we're not saying to, oh, can you connect me in with that? Can you refer me to that person? So you ask their advice. I want to do something for Accenture. I've got a talk that I'm delivering, or I've got this training or this solution that I think is going to be paramount because I've watched the trends. I understand the direction that Accenture is going. I've read the press releases, so I know what's happening. I've got that industry knowledge. How can I get to Louise? Caroline will turn around and say, listen, I can do that for you. Tell me a little bit more about what you do so I can make the connections for you. So then Caroline can introduce you to Louise, who's already in, and that is your vertical partnerships. This is something you can try straight away. Have a look at who your second degrees, who your third degrees are, and who are the connectors to it. So let me give you an example of this in practice. So you may wonder and think, Michelle, why have you got Dubai in the background? Yeah? And I'll tell you why I've got Dubai in the background. Because I got a contract to deliver some talks, some training, some workshops, and facilitations in Dubai. And because of that, I had to travel to Dubai back and forth for a number of times. And I was there connected to the decision maker. So this made it a vertical partnership. And I said, if I'm going, there might be space for or opportunities for somebody else to come with me. Because yes, I can do it by myself, but I want to make sure that all the delegates who are all traveling from different parts of the world coming to Dubai, I want to make sure that they get a breadth of experience. So I said, is there a way that I can bring someone else with me? And they said, actually, Michelle, I think it's a brilliant idea. So then I invited Evelina. And I said, Evelina, why don't you be my co-facilitator and you deliver a talk or you deliver training on this particular thing? So we traveled out there together. Then I went back to my decision maker and I said, what other opportunities, what other gaps are coming up? What's on your list? What is your commercial priorities? And where are the gaps? So they told me. And I said, who else have I got in my network? Who else do I want to be partnered with? And then I reached out to Mavis and I reached out to Leela. And I said, do you want an opportunity to get paid handsomely to travel to Dubai, to stay in some of their top 5 hotels, and you get paid even when you're not doing the work, and they pay for your food, your lunch and your breakfast? What do you think? They said, yeah. So then they went over. And that's because of the vertical partnerships they had with me. Now I'll show you horizontal partnerships. So this is where I knew somebody and then they brought me in. And that's what happened with Amazon. So I went into Amazon and I delivered something for free. I delivered something for free 2 years ago. This is how long ago it was, right? Sometimes these things take long. 2 years ago, I delivered it for free. And I came and obviously I must have been on their radar because I'm forever putting thought leadership content out. I must have been on their radar and they came back to me and they said, for International Women's Day for 2021, Michelle would love to have you come and deliver. And I came and deliver. But this time it was a paid engagement and it was thousands of pounds for, I'll hasten to add, an hour and 15, 20 minutes. Then just, what day are we today? Okay, just last week, I got another email from Amazon, but now a different department from Amazon to say, I would like you to come in and deliver a talk to our finance department. What are your fees? So somebody has said earlier, what if you've done something for free before? So that's what I did, then I got paid. But now I'm going in again. Do you think I'm going to give them the same fee as I gave them back in February? No. No, because between February and today, I have built up my skill set. I've exposed myself to more information. I am more valuable. So I've gone back to them and I said, yeah, I can do this. And we had a conversation and I said, my fee is this. So it was significantly more than before. And actually the talk they want me to do is less time. Have they come back to me yet? They are coming back to me today. So hopefully by today, I'll be able to see what they say. But at least I'm at the stage of negotiation. So you, as speakers, you can state your fee, but be prepared to negotiate. So be prepared that if they can't do everything, if they can't make that budget, what can you remove? Or how can you get back in there because you said, okay, you can't meet my fees. So how do we bridge the gap between your budget and my fees? These are discussions, and all it is negotiation. So that's horizontal and vertical partnerships. I want you to have a think how you can do that. And you have to tell people that you're a speaker. How will they know that you speak if they don't know that you are a speaker? Whether you're a motivational speaker, inspirational speaker, a corporate speaker, it needs to be on your profile. It needs to be on your bio. You need to speak so people know you are a speaker. Who knows that? Are there images that reflect that? Do you share data that reflects that? Do you share feedback and case studies? Case studies are critical. When we're dealing with entrepreneurs, we always ask a lot for testimonials, and that's fine. But when you're working with corporates, they want to see case studies. And the case studies is just an extended version of a testimonial where you start to write where you were before, what intervention I did or we did together, and what the result was. So think about the language. Your language pattern has to shift when we now are operating in the corporate market. So we talk about case studies and not testimonials. But people need to know you're a speaker. Let me share with you one tip before we go to the last part. Follow the person and not the position. I want you to take note of this because people get so caught up in the position. Oh, I'm speaking to this executive, this COO, this CEO. But really, you want to be building relationships with people and not the positions that they hold. Because when they leave that organization, if you've built a relationship with them, they take you with them. I've seen this many times in my journey. Because if that person leaves and you've not built a network with other people, so even within Amazon, when I went the first time, I built a community of network with them. And then the second time, this is a completely different department. I'm now building community of network with them. And now if I go back again to do with their finance department, I'm building a community with them. You see, if someone leaves, I can still have an inroad to Amazon. And if that person leaves and I've built a relationship with them, when they go to their next organization, who are they taking with them? That's right, they'll be taking you with them because you've built a relationship with them and not necessarily the position. So guys, before I move on, are you getting this? Is it good content? Is it content that you could use? Are you loving it? Brilliant, good, good, good. Let's go to the last part, permission. Asking permission. Every organization has a commercial priority. I talk about this all the time in my programs and my masterclasses. You have to make sure that you can create a need from an existing opportunity. They don't want to know necessarily how you can help them 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. How can you help them today? What are the commercial priorities today? What opportunities are happening? So let me share with you a couple of things that are happening right now within corporate. Where can you drop yourself in? So health and well-being is massive, massive. If you have an expertise within that, you need to capitalize on this with the corporate market now. You go in from the angle of how do you manage staff in terms of their well-being, that they're working remotely. I did one more recently on burnout, how to spot the signs of burnout in remote staff. And that's different from spotting burnout with people who are in front of you, who you could probably see. But what if you don't see them? You don't have your eyes on them all the time. And then we've got diversity and equity. That's not going away anytime soon. So if you have an expertise in that, you want to be positioning yourself for that. Communication, tech and digital. Start getting thought leadership content out there on those areas. Emotional intelligence, more than ever. How can you show that you're an expert in this and not be doing the 5 steps to emotional intelligence well-being? That's not thought leadership for corporates. Where's the data? What's the trends? What's happening? What is likely to happen to an organization in that particular sector if they don't have leaders who have EI? Work-life balance, that's not going anywhere. Cultivating trust is massive right now, absolutely massive right now. And change management, because the world is forever changing. And there's one thing I can add on there actually is, what are we in now? It's Pride Month right now. There's organizations want to know how can they engage their LGBT plus community? How can we get them on side? What have you done? What leadership, what thought leadership have you put out there? Have you gone out to organizations and said, I can do a talk on this to support that community who may feel marginalized? And this is what I'm doing right now around the vaccination. Identify an opportunity. The opportunity right now is that some companies, some people are vaccinated, others aren't. And I'm seeing interbullying where people feel, I don't want to go out with that person. I don't want to speak to that person. I don't, because they're not vaccinated. And there's this anti-vaccination thing going on. So what I can do is use my expertise to talk about why you need to have a vaccination policy that people prevent these things from happening in companies, because the opportunity is there and I'm creating the need. You need to create the need. And when you create the need, go in for the arcs. Why don't you just ask companies, just like Levelda said? Reach out to the decision makers. And these are, I'm going to share with you 2 strategies in how you can do that. The first one is host a roundtable. Host a roundtable. So I usually talk about this in line with if you want to go in and get long-term contracts. But this is one of the entry strategies you can use for training, for facilitation, but also for speaking. When you host a roundtable, you get about 10 to 12 of different senior execs in different organizations, and you facilitate a discussion on a particular theme. A theme that will resonate with them, that will be valuable, like I said earlier, to them, but it's something that you can talk about. When you host that round table, you start to write down all the pain points, all the problems that is coming from this discussion. And then you put together a recommendation. And the recommendation will be, you need this, you need A, you need B, you need C. And then you now become a person of interest. You become somebody that they need to keep in contact on their radar. So you may think that you just want a speaking engagement, but you might end up with a training contract, and a lucrative one at that. So host a round table. The second strategy is look out for presentation submissions. If you just put on your Google alerts, presentation submissions, or ask the speaker, looking for speakers, put that on your Google alerts. It will basically, Google alerts will then direct any mail that is from organizations that are looking for speakers, but you have to present, it's like an application form basically. You have to create this application to speak at the conference. This is very huge. It's not so big in the UK, but it's huge outside of the UK. And we want to be global speakers. So you don't want to just focus just on the UK market. There's the US market. So presentation submissions and roundtables. Just put in the chat, which one of those 2 do you think you could do? Just put in the chat, which one do you think you can do? Let's have a look at the chat. Brilliant. Awesome, awesome. So do you want me to share just one more strategy with you before I go? One more strategy? Let me show you. This is what you can do right now. Do a speaking tour. Get a theme, a subject matter, and what you do is this. You identify a sector of the market and you email the different ops managers. You find their details on LinkedIn and you say, I'm doing a mini speaking tour about a particular subject, and your company was identified on the list. And literally what I do is we just jump on Zoom and I speak to one of your departments. Start with the departments first. I speak to one of your departments, and then based on that, you go in, you do a talk, and then you say, I'm available for bigger conferences, for galas, for dinners. You can do a speaking tour. So, with that being said, is it something you can do? Is it impossible? It's not impossible to speak in corporates and get paid. No way. This is something that you can do. So I just want you to choose one of those strategies. Get yourself on their radar. Create your thought leadership content. Get yourself in as a person of interest. And then reach out to Lavelda, reach out to myself, and let us know how you get on. The next stage will be to how much should you charge? And that's something that Lavelda covers. So you've got that covered in her membership. But get yourself in front of those decision makers. Get yourself in front of those gatekeepers, people like me, the ops managers, the directors, the event host, and get yourself visible for corporate markets. Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure. I've loved sharing with you, and hopefully I get to see more of you.
Bada bing, bada boom. Was that valuable? I know people are probably still scribbling. They're like, hold on a minute, Lavelda, I'm catching up.
That was great.
I'm catching up. Awesome. So if you, just by way of reminder, if you went on to join the membership, Michelle has thrown in a much more in-depth training for getting corporate speaking engagements. I mean, she's gone through a huge amount of detail already in this time frame. So imagine 3 hours of additional content with her, what you could do. Key thing is take action though.